Hey everybody, welcome to the LFG Life. Peter PJ Jensen here, joined with a friend of mine, a new friend of mine, Jacquelyn Mosier. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, Jackie, before we went on air, I asked you how old you were. You said you were 37.
35.
35, you just lost 2 years. Yeah, 35. And I asked that for a reason because I'm 58. But the common denominator that you and I have, as do most people in recovery, is that we're in recovery.
Yeah.
You know, and what I love about, you know, being in the presence of someone who's in recovery, that we do have that. We have this bottom line understanding of like what we've both been through at whatever level. So the common denominator is, what was your drug of choice? What was your DOC?
Alcohol.
Alcohol. Mine too. What was your favorite?
Tequila and whiskey.
Real tequila and whiskey. Wow, that's like a nuclear bomb.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you good at it or bad at it?
It was good until it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's my thing. And I say it over and over. I couldn't live with it, and I couldn't live without it at the end. But you know, in the beginning, it was all like unicorns and rainbows,
It's
right?
fun.
So tell us about who you are, where you are, like what you're doing, and how you got to. Like I always say, like how did we get here? Like how did we get to this point where we're in recovery, but we're living like this amazing life? Right, and I can see it in your eyes. You're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. You're smiling. You just told me that you walked between 2 and 4 miles today. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I grew up in Illinois. Really small town, blinking is it type of town. Everyone knows each other, surrounded by cornfields. And then when my dad passed away when I was 12, we moved to Southern Illinois. And then in my adulthood, like I moved to St. Louis area and lived there for like 10 years. And then I moved down here at the beginning of January of 22. So when I moved down here, I wasn't sober yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, tequila and whiskey, you were hell on wheels.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. So we did, in one of the phone calls that we had prior to you coming here today, we talked a little bit about that journey, and you've got some pretty you've got more than 9 lives.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because, like, when I was doing my sober meetings, I brought up the saying, like, curiosity kills the cat, right? But it's not necessarily it killed the cat, but it gave it its 9 lives. So I started saying that.
Yeah.
So
well, explain that to me.
So it's like curiosity, like, and you think about failure, you think it's just, like, end of all being, it's finite, like, it's just the end, right? But curiosity, like it expands your mindset and it opens you up to a entire new world.
Sure.
So that's how you get the 9 lives because you're always evolving. Like you.
So you failed at drinking.
Oh, hard.
Yeah, me too. Isn't that amazing? I look at it differently. I was so good at it that I had to move on. Like I had mastered drinking. I had mastered drinking in business and drinking, and then it was bad. Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, I mean, I was horrible at drinking. That's why we're sitting here next to each other. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So, rock bottom. Did you have the traditional rock bottom that people have?
Yes and no. So I had like a pattern of rock bottoms happening, and I thought that I could control myself and just have one and stop. And
what would be a rock bottom you would have? Like,
so like. At Fuck Up Nights where I spoke at, I talked about, so like on my move down here, I actually got into a really bad car accident, and that should have been my...
You were drinking?
Yes, okay. I was drinking.
On the way down from Illinois?
From, Missouri.
Driving down 75 whacked?
I was in Georgia.
In Georgia?
Yeah.
Just hammered?
Yeah, at the time.
Wow.
I was in a toxic relationship, and this isn't an excuse, but I was using it to numb and cope and not deal with it. And we were texting and fighting. And I look up and I hit a cop car.
Oh,
and
then
I
went big.
I went big.
Yeah, you went big.
Go big or go home,
That's
right?
right.
Yes.
That's right. You were
but
big.
Not only did I hit the cop car, I went through all 3 lanes of traffic and got hit by a semi.
Wow.
So that should have been my rock bottom. Like, I was very lucky to survive that accident. Like, if you saw pictures of my car, the insurance company literally thought they were going to get a death certificate. And
you got arrested?
No.
What? How does that happen?
By the grace of God.
Wow.
So I was very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And so when I was dealing with all of that, I was sober for 3 months, But then I listened to what was going on around me and just tried to do the one. That didn't happen. And then I got into another accident where I was riding my e-bike, and then I flipped over a curb and face planted on the concrete, which is why I have this scar now.
I wouldn't notice. I didn't notice until you just pointed it out. Now I can see it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I used to have like discoloration here. Like it was not great. And then there was a third incident, and I was sober this time, but I went and had lunch with my now ex, and I was on our way back to where I was living at the time, a mile down the road. I got hit by another car riding my bike in front of a funeral home by the funeral home.
Wow, it was prepped and ready to go.
Yep. And so that was my rock bottom. I was like, okay, universe, I see you. And I had started therapy at this point, and this is when I joined Reframe, the app I told you about earlier.
Right.
And at first I was like, I'm going to cut back, and then that happened. And I was like, no, we're done.
So let's talk about that. 'Cause I went to my journey of sobriety was via an intervention and then into a rehab. So no rehab?
No rehab.
So what were the first step towards gaining control of your life again?
The first steps, definitely the therapy. Addressing like the core things from like my childhood.
Are you in AA at this time, or have you started to go to meetings?
No, not yet.
So your baseline
just therapy.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm asking that is because there's so many different ways to get sober, right? And a lot of times you're going to be people are going to force a way down you because that's all they know. But there are many, many options. Whether it's AA, whether it's SMART, whether it's Dharma. I mean, these are all different techniques. Therapy is obviously it's a favorite, and what I love is that I love people to just start the process, like that they're starting it. And by the way, like what people always ask me, how do you know if you have a drinking problem? Well, if it's a conversation, you probably have it. If it's a conversation that you're having with yourself, most definitely. If it's a conversation that you've had with your significant other, your parents, your sisters, your brothers, your friends, see what I'm saying? Basically everyone around you. Yeah. Then normally that's the telltale that there's an issue. So you seek therapy for it. So what did that look like?
So what that looked like, I actually had two therapists. So my first one, she kind of like guided me and coached me on like what to talk about or what was going on. And then the second one I had, at first I didn't like her because she wanted me to think for myself and admit things that I didn't want to, right?
You didn't like her because she challenged you? Or
yes, exactly.
Okay.
But when she challenged me, I actually ended up really liking it, and I ended up appreciating it more because it made me voice my truth, and it made me accept what was going on. And so in our therapy, like it's really funny, like God is fair, right? I always said I never wanted to be an alcoholic because it ran in my family, my dad's parents, my mom, some of her family, and then I thought I became one. And like the first time I ever said the word alcoholic, I was a mess. I couldn't even get it out. I had like snot running everywhere. Yeah. But then like further on in our therapy sessions, I realized like it wasn't alcoholism, it was addiction. And it started really early on with sugar as a kid.
Right.
Because like
most of us, right?
Yeah. And then it just transfers into, whether it was caffeine or the alcohol or marijuana or whatever, right? The toxic relationships, you get addicted to the highs and lows. Yeah.
So question for you, just real quick. So now you've addressed and you're living a sober, clean life right now. So are you still addicted to sugar? Yeah.
It's the hardest thing. Yeah. So I love desserts. I love sweets.
It's literally as bad for you as alcohol.
It is.
I mean, the studies that are coming out right now, it's like it's something that I work on the daily. Yeah. So, we talked a little bit about AA meetings. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about those?
I think they're great if they align with your core values and it is what you're looking for.
Right.
For me personally, it doesn't align with that. You have to have grace for yourself if you slip and if you make a mistake. Like, we're all human.
Right.
It's going to happen.
Great point.
And there are just some roles where I think that they are unfair and they're very judgmental and they bring shame rather than the grace and the acceptance and support.
You know what's wild as you're saying that? I just realized I had a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine, Cameron Core, who's going to be a guest on the Let's Freaking God part of this. So the Let's F and Go is the life, but there's a segment that we do, Let's Freaking God. And the Old Testament is literally the ministry of death, that if you broke one of the commandments in the Old Testament, you were stoned to death. Which is kind of like you're saying that if you slip or relapse in AA, the old school, the old timers, they view it as you lost all your time and you're kind of exonerated or excommunicated for a little bit. Yeah. Where in the New Testament, Jesus died on the cross and we have grace, right? So, yeah, but I want people to understand that in recovery, it's whatever works for you that allows you not to drink for that day.
Yeah.
For me being, I go to AA. I go to AA meetings when things are good. Like when I'm riding success or a high, I go there just to check myself because sometimes the AA meeting is just, I know you don't go there to listen. You go there to maybe speak and someone hears something and identify, and there's just different things. But, I don't want people to think that that's the only way because there's different, we're all different. Even though we're baseline addicts.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to catch a lot of shit for this, for being honest and saying that it's okay to, going to an AA meeting versus an NA. So if you're an alcoholic, you're not supposed to go to a narcotics meeting, right? An NA meeting. So it's like, and I remember when I was in rehab, the counselor said, listen, if anyone ever tells you or says anything that's negative about you trying to stay sober, tell them to F off. Like, I'm trying to stay alive.
Right.
Because we know it is a life or death situation. Don't you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
People ask me all the time, like, would I ever consider drinking again? And I think about it, and I'm just like, no, I feel too good in my life. I look at what happened, and if I go back down there, like, I will die.
Yeah.
So it is a choice you have to consciously make every single day.
Well, we talk about the three options we have as an active addict, right? Jail, institution, or death.
Yeah.
And that they come in pretty much any order at any time. You have urges anymore at 2.5 years?
No.
People, places, things?
Not really.
Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, if I go to places or I'm with people that I still hang out with that still drink and party that are quote unquote normies that can turn it off, it makes me more committed to my sobriety because of what I see happening. Yeah. What I see happens to them.
You almost feel like you're in the Twilight Zone.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I see how they look. Most of them are overweight. I'm just going to call it, B100. They're overweight. They're bloated. They just don't have that lively look to them. The same stupid stories are told. That's kind of my cue when I need to leave. And those.
It's like, okay, they're repeating themselves.
Yeah. If I like the person a lot, I'll take the third time on the same story before I leave. Normally it's the second, and then I'm out. But I always like watch, especially if we're outside doing something where the sweat starts to come.
Oh yeah.
And then it makes me more committed to my sobriety just because, like, I protect my sobriety. God, this show is so good because I don't think about this up until I'm talking to somebody about it. I protect my sobriety now like I protected my alcoholism.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And I protected my alcoholism more than I protected my family, my businesses, my relationships.
Yeah.
But now I do the same with sobriety. I just thank you for bringing that out.
Yeah.
Do you protect yours?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not just from the substances. Let's talk about that toxic relationship that you got out of and that you don't want to get back into.
Yeah. So during my journey and as I went to more and more online meetings and started speaking about what was going on and, how I was feeling and my perspectives, things become clear to you. And it was never really necessarily about the alcohol. It was more about the emotional sobriety. And so that's where things really shifted for me.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I've never heard emotional sobriety. I just this past weekend was informed of, okay, you're going to think I'm retarded, of emotional IQ.
Okay.
Emotional intelligence. I won't tell you why I was told that, but maybe I will. But so emotional sobriety, what does that mean?
So it's really just understanding what your emotions actually mean, where they're coming from, and having the right tools to actually feel them, deal with them, and not let them take control of you.
So where you want to drink?
And want to drink, or you spiral, or you self-sabotage. So that's what emotional sobriety means to me.
Right. So you ever hear of the word or the phrase "make a reservation"?
No.
So you're making a reservation to drink.
No, I actually haven't.
So when people relapse, or people commit adultery,
Okay.
let me give you two metaphors. So when people relapse and they have that drink, a lot of people want to point to that exact second and moment that they took the drink. Okay? So go back to the adultery, the exact moment that they had sex with another partner that they're not supposed to be having, right? Well, two separate events that happened, but they weren't at what caused them is not talked about. So the relapse of the drink at that time, no. The relapse happened 2 weeks ago where something happened and you stopped going to meetings, you stopped using your coping skills, maybe you skipped a therapy session, whatever you're doing for your routine. Or so the adultery part came with text messaging and stepping out and then doing things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's funny because, and that's what they say when you make a reservation to drink, that you're making a reservation subconsciously, and then because you're starting to unravel weeks prior. Maybe even months.
It could be like a slow build up.
Yeah. So one of my things, and then again, I bucked the system the one day at a time. When I got sober and I was in rehab, I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this one day at a time. I'm going to clip off a year at a time. And I'm not saying you need to do that. It's just my personal, it's my personal journey. And so I've managed to clip off 7, right? Because I do it. I can recommit for a year. It's a big thing, and I don't think. And we touched on this, that if you're 2.5 years, you are right. Yeah. So if you had a slip for some reason, God forbid you have one. It's not the end of the world.
Right.
We talked about that. You're big on that, on grace.
Yeah.
And B, I don't think you lose all that time.
No.
Because you have done a tremendous amount of work.
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we're very hard on ourselves.
Yes.
It's
one of the reasons why we're here.
Yeah. Perfectionism. And I've thought a lot about this too, but having grace for yourself is one of the best gifts you can give. I would rather be perfectly imperfect and be able to own my fuck ups, whatever, my mistakes. And even robots, they have glitches. So why am I trying to be this perfect person, this people pleaser, when I just need to just be imperfect? And that's more than good enough.
Yeah. Are you religious?
Yes.
What are you?
Spiritual. So I don't necessarily believe in organized religion. I believe in God and the universe. It doesn't make sense to me that I have to go into a building when God created Earth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like they talked about with AA. If AA is your thing, that's cool. If not, then smart. If dominant, if not, whatever. I mean, I get a kick out of AA from the standpoint of that. I think 4 out of the 10 steps or 12 steps, 4 of the 12 steps are the only 4 steps that aren't Christian based or religious based. They say it's not a religious organization, but they end every meeting with the Our Father. And so there's some different things, but the higher power thing is really cool to me. Because the higher power thing is saying, all right, if God is not your higher power, then pick something that is your higher power that is going to help you not drink. And as you know, a higher power can be that microphone.
Yeah.
Can be that bottle of water. Can be these pair of glasses.
Yeah.
So is it higher power or is it God for you?
I struggled with God for a long time after my dad passed away. But it came back to him. Even as a little kid, I loved going to church with my grandparents and my mom, but it wasn't necessarily the specific type of religion. It was the community and the bonding, and it just brought out a light. And so it just, I go to church with my friends, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific, denomination. And yeah.
I'll blow your mind with this because I just learned about this again yesterday through Cameron, that the church itself is the devil's biggest funnel system to recruit people, because they think that if they go just to church, that's their ticket. So there's a thing about, when you go to, when it's Judgment Day and you think you've led this big Christian life, or you've done all the right things, you checked all the boxes, and then God says, I don't know you. Because you just went through the motions. You didn't love him the way you were supposed to and do the things. And I think, when a lot of us, and again, I'll speak for myself, because we talked about crosstalk, and I can never tell you how you feel.
Right.
But for me, the part about, I actually want to ask someone with your dad, what was the disconnect with God with when your dad passed away? Were you mad?
I was angry.
Yeah.
Really, really hurt.
Why?
My dad was my everything.
Oh.
And he also passed away within 2 months. So he had pancreatic cancer. And I watched him waste away and die. I couldn't understand being so young. If God loved everyone he put down here, why he would put a child through that.
So have you come to terms with that? Because that's a big thing with, I've also, why is there famine? Why is there crime? And why do people die? So what would you come up with?
So it took me a long, long time up until I started going to therapy and my sobriety journey to really address that. What I've repaired my relationship, and what I've come to realize is, if my dad were here, I would not be here. And I always relied on him. I always went to him. So he was taken from my life to show me how to love myself.
I'm really wondering what my life would look like. I got sober 7 years ago. I'm 51 years old. You're sober at 35. So you got sober at 32.
Yeah.
Right?
Or 33.
30,
Oh,
right.
33, whatever.
Right.
In between.
Right. But so to catch it so young, and now I see I see kids that are getting sober at 17, 18, which is wow. And some of the, but I'm watching the world, right? I'm watching the younger kids get sober early, and I'm watching someone told me that Vegas is down 39% of alcohol sales. Yeah. Because it's
shifting.
It's shifting. Yeah. And I tell people being sober is cool.
Yeah, I love it. I feel great.
Yeah.
And I don't wake up hungover. Right. I don't feel sick. I'm not throwing up.
Oh God. I bet those days I can still call on that pain.
Yeah.
I was the worst throw-upper.
Oh,
thrower-upper?
Worst.
Yes. Dehydrated.
The dry heaving.
Oh God.
It feels like you're choking.
I'm not going to show you, but take my word for it. I have an 8-pack of abs. And everyone thinks it's from where I think it's from the dry heaving back in the day.
Just contracting.
Just contracting. Yeah. It was you're dehydrated. Yeah. And if there was a plus or a benefit of it was mild. I had abs, yeah, but it's certainly the unbelievable life. Where do you go from here?
So where I go from here, I just really love creating. The more I go in my journey, I become more clear, and I've been able to start a lot of really great communities and find my real people and find people I can really be honest with, and they don't judge.
Rare, isn't it rare?
Oh my God. But if you're intentional with it, it does happen.
Yeah, no, you're also you're hanging out with like-minded individuals. You're not in the bars, and that's a big thing. I'm gonna ask you, and not that we haven't touched on personal stuff. Yeah. Have you been in a healthy relationship since you've been sober? No. What's that like? Because I have my own opinion on sobriety and relationships.
Yeah.
Or experience, I should say.
So right now, I am really enjoying my peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about it.
So I don't have to answer to anyone. I don't have to explain what I'm doing, even though I do anything wrong.
Right.
And
right.
I can truly just make the best choices for myself, and it's.
Is this self-inflicted? Is this self-inflicted? Is it something that you're conscious of?
Yeah.
To not get into a relationship.
It's so I'm not closed off, but it's not on my priority at all. I have businesses. I have multiple of them that I'm growing, and I have different like organizations I run for networking, and like my time is very limited. So like I'll have conversations or I'll go on dates, but it's not anything I'm entertaining where I'm going to jump back into anything seriously, because like I really know who I am now, and I really honor my boundaries and like my discipline and my routine, and I really want to make sure the right person understands truly like where I'm at, what I'm doing, my goals. I have my life, you have your life, we can come together, but I want to make sure you're adding to it, not taking away.
This is a script that I could have written. This is exactly. So let me a couple more questions before we wrap up. You isolate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think so. Like when I isolate, I call myself a hermit.
Right.
And I talked about this in some of my meetings, but it's like the hermit crab. Like whenever they need to grow and they get rid of their shells, and it's okay to isolate for a little bit, but you do still need the community, yes, because when you isolate yourself, you're also making yourself more vulnerable to go down that path again.
Yeah, that there's something to be said on that. I asked you about the isolated because I do it myself. And it's I also live in Fort Lauderdale. I live here, and so the options to go out in Fort Lauderdale are because of where I live, I'm right on Las Olas, and I can walk to all the restaurants. But I find myself, if I'm going to go out, and at the last minute I'll say, I'd just rather stay home. I'd rather, if I was drinking, it wouldn't have been like that because I wasn't going out for the non-isolation. I was going out for the booze. Mm-hmm. Like the attraction was the booze. It wasn't meeting my friends. It wasn't, it was, I'm going to get into an Uber and drive to, you know what I mean? So it's really, I think, I echo what you said. I enjoy my alone time.
Yeah.
Like you can be single and not lonely.
Yeah.
Right?
Like it's actually really, really powerful to be able to be alone and comfortable and like take yourself out on dates and do the things you want to do without someone having to be with you.
Right.
Like, well, I thought about this too. Like for the longest time, like I never did anything because I always wanted someone to do it with me.
Right.
Like why wouldn't I just go do it?
Well, I think because what's the term? Once you're comfortable in your own skin, then you can. I think one of the things that we're not as active alcoholics, you're not comfortable in your own skin because that's why you're banging the shit out of your booze and you're medicating and suppressing. And so once you feel comfortable with your sobriety, then you're able to do those things. Yeah. Yeah. These are great topics, and if you're listening, you've got a young, beautiful woman here that is attacking her sobriety at a younger age, and it gets younger and younger as this shift is happening. You have an old dog like me who got started at 51, and I remember sitting in the AA meeting. I had just come down off a binge. It was towards the end of my drinking. I was shivering. I was at this AA meeting. I threw up before I went to the meeting, and I was sitting behind this guy, and his name was Bob, and he's been in the rooms for, 50 years, old timer. I'm sorry, 40 years, because he at the age of, he was 91. At the age of 51, which I was 2 years younger than him before the light didn't go off then, but he said that he chose life at the age of 51. And that always stuck in my mind. And then when I finally made the decision, because that's a decision only you and I can make, or we can make, I chose life. And that's what being sober is. It's life on every level. It's being alive, but then, there's something about people that don't have that ugliness in them, which is alcohol or drugs, that their light just shines. Like I can look at you and just know that you're alive and that your light is bright.
Yeah, you can see it, and it's like a glow.
Yes.
It's like the non-alcoholic pregnancy glow.
The what?
Non-alcoholic pregnancy glow.
What is
like
that? Oh, the glow. I thought you see right. Yes. I was accused early on about being on that pink cloud.
Yeah.
Because I was so excited about being sober.
All day long.
Amen, sister. Yes, amen. Yeah. Any closing remarks? Any words of advice for someone that's out there still sick and suffering?
It's okay to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no shame in it.
No.
There's none. And if someone shames you for it, they're not your person.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's right. So don't think that you could certainly don't think you have to fight this battle alone. We're living proof that miracles do happen. This one has survived car crashes, e-bike crashes.
Final destination.
Final destination. She is something to behold. So, hey, if we can do it, if Jackie and I can do it, you can do it. And if you need some guidance and some love and some support, reach out to me. We'll get you started on the right path. So, Jackie, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Oh, you're awesome.
This is great.
Thank you.